Plaintiff Jessica Johnson says she's 21 years old and is currently caring for her 6 siblings because her mother is incarcerated. Jessica claims she was renting a home from the defendants, and they had done nothing but harass her by calling her constantly and coming to her job. Jessica's suing for the harassment, personal property, and an illegal eviction. Defendants Cassandra Eli and her husband Abel say they never agreed to rent their home to Jessica. They only agreed to rent it to Jessica's mother before she went to prison. Abel claims Jessica has no control over her siblings, and they have torn the house up, so they're countersuing for property damage.
Start with you.
To start off, I like to say that I'm 21 years old. I'm currently taking care of my 6 siblings alone. There's no financial help or anything because my mom is currently incarcerated. She was incarcerated in mid-March, and that's when I, began taking care of my sisters and brothers. These 2, Cassandra and Abel Eli, have done nothing but make my life a living hell.
Where do you know them from?
They're my cousins. Well, Abel is my cousin.
And what have they done to you?
Made my life a living hell.
Okay. What? Like what?
On top of, my mom was currently renting a house from Cassandra and Abel. When she was incarcerated, I moved in, to help assist with the kids. That's when shortly after the harassment phone call started.
About what?
Cassandra was calling saying that she needed to move back into the home, saying that she had nowhere else to go.
She was calling you directly?
Yes, sir.
How often?
4 to 5 times a day.
Saying, I want to move in. I want to move in. I want to move in.
Basically the same story every day. She's saying that her landlord is coming by the
4 or 5 times
house.
a day for how long?
For at least a month or so.
Gotcha.
Well, after I stopped answering the phone call, she came up to my job.
And said what?
She was saying basically the same thing she was saying when she called. Jessica, I've been trying to contact you. They're putting out for rent signs. They're cutting the lines, saying they need me to move out the house. She said, I told them that I can't afford the rent.
Let me stop you and get some idea of what you're referring to with regard to this home. Who owned the home, sir? And tell me the circumstances involving the home.
Both of us own the home.
Both of us as in whom?
Me and my wife.
Okay.
Okay, we moved out that house. Jessica's mom moved in. Okay, but I want to say this. Jessica had no control over the kids. They was like completely tearing the house up.
What's the age range from?
From 13.
You never seen them?
I see them, but they're not really.
Shouldn't be that hard then, sir.
13, I don't know the exact age.
I know, range, that's why I say range.
From 13 all the way to 21.
Okay.
But I didn't rent the house out to Jessica. I rented it out to her mom.
But you allowed her to stay.
Yes, sir.
And then what?
I allowed her to stay. And I think she paid rent up for like 3 months.
Ma'am, did you go to her job?
I went there to talk to her because I couldn't reach her at all.
Talk to her about what?
When I went to her, I was asking her because I told her that when we did get a chance to talk, that I was trying to move back into my place.
What month was that?
By the middle of June.
Man, what are you suing for?
Your Honor, I'm suing for property damage.
What happened?
It was around July. They had our utilities turned off, basically forcing me to leave the place. It had been like 3 weeks.
Did they tell you why they were turning the utilities off?
No, the guy that turned it off, he told my sister that he was turning it off, and my sister said, why the bill was paid? And he said someone requested. And my sister said, well, who?
Okay.
He said, Abel Eli.
All right. And that was which bill, the water?
The water.
All right. And what other bill?
The gas bill was turned off. I never received the bill for it because we did have a
So it was turned off for non-payment?
Yes.
Good enough. So you lived there with no gas or water
for about 3 weeks. See, I had to take the kids to my aunt's house back and forth. I would have to take them there to wash, and it was really hard. I mean, these people have no idea.
Let's get back. All right, I got your point. All right, what do you want to tell me about the gas and the water?
Well,
whose responsibility was it to pay?
Out the kindness of my heart, I let her mom keep the gas and the water in my name. It was already on.
Whose responsibility was it to pay?
It was her mom's responsibility to pay the bills.
When she moved in, she assumed it. All right. And you were to give the bills to her?
I gave the bills to her.
Okay. And what would happen when you'd give the bills to her and the next month it would come back showing the bills weren't paid?
I didn't open the envelope, Your Honor.
Okay. So you never knew how much she was supposed to pay.
I didn't know.
When you became aware that the gas was turned off, did you know why and how did you come to know?
Jessica called me and asked me, could I get them to turn it on? Because that's the only way they can turn it on is through me.
Back on.
Back on, yes.
Okay, but did you?
The gas company gave me a problem with turning it on.
Okay, so you couldn't because of the company. Good enough. What about the water?
Like the next day, I turned the water off so I wouldn't have a high bill like the gas.
Because you didn't think she was going to pay it?
Yes, sir.
All right, now what is it you wanted to show me about the utilities?
This is just a record of the utilities, how they've been getting cut on and off.
That's because I never received bills for it.
Okay, ma'am, how long did you go without receiving bills?
3 months.
And for 3 months, he never gave you one?
I received one, and when I received it, it was already late.
Earlier you said no. You
Your Honor, because the bill had already been paid, and it was the second month, and he gave me a late bill.
All right, ma'am. Did you pay it?
Yes, it was already paid at that time.
By you?
Yes.
Do you have evidence that you did?
No, I didn't because
Let's
he had
move
to get
on
cut
then.
on.
I have evidence that shows there was an overdue balance each month. What are you suing for with regard to the personal property?
I'm suing for $1,500 for personal property.
How so?
After, this was in July, after we had moved out the house because we couldn't live there. Basically, so we moved in with the uncle. I went back to the home, to check the mail, as I had been doing. We still had time, in the house. The rent was paid up. Once I got to the home, our things were like thrown across the street, like on the trash pile. I have pictures of our things that were thrown out. People were picking through them. People were picking through, going through our things. It had rained that day. All our things were soiled. Our clothes were all in bags on the church.
Let me hear from you about this.
When we went to the house on July the 4th, we seen that it was all kinds of trash and wood and just whatever in the backyard. My sister had called me and told me that,
sir, these mattresses aren't things that were abandoned in the backyard. I'm looking at clothes. I'm looking at dresser drawers.
Those clothes and everything was in the backyard. With all that you
Did
see,
you
we
all
pulled from the
remove
back.
any items from the house?
I didn't. I was just on the move.
No, when
I wasn't there.
You pointed to your wife to throw her under the bus.
No.
So, ma'am, did you throw anything out?
After she got what she wanted out the house, and what she left, I threw away.
All right. She told you she didn't want anything else.
No, she would never answer the phone when I called. So my sister-in-law called her and asked her, was she through getting everything she needed out of the house? She said yes. So what she left,
Did
I
you
threw
tell her
away.
sister-in-law that?
I told her after we were done getting our things, after the police escorted us into the home to get the remainder.
You told her you were done?
Yes.
Yeah, and
there were still things there?
There were a couple of things there. There was nothing.
What things were still there, ma'am?
There probably was a dresser or something left in the house. That was it.
All right. And that's what you no longer wanted?
Yes.
All right. That dresser is right here as one of the items you claim they came in and took and threw out illegally. Yes, it's thrown out, and you just said why? Because you didn't want it. Illegal eviction. How so, ma'am?
Because I have a lease saying that it wasn't up until August 9th. They basically we were forced out of the home.
Because of the bills, right?
Yes.
Weren't the utilities cut off because you didn't pay?
No.
You told me it was the case, ma'am. You said the gas was cut off because we didn't pay, and we didn't pay because I never got the bill.
Because I didn't receive bills. He didn't give me any bills, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you have the obligation to find out how much you owe. If he never gave you the bill, then you should have called the gas company. Your counterclaim, property damage, $3,860. How does she owe you for that?
Damages to the back of the house. It's like it been graffiti. We got pictures
You
of
have
that.
it? Let me see it.
It has pictures in the inside of the house, like the floor has been ripped up. That's my gate, my front door. The screen is tore off on the bottom.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, what do you say about that?
I have pictures as well as when my mom moved in the house. The house was ruined, Your Honor. There were cars, like 3 or 4 cars in the backyard. The backyard was filthy.
Let me see your pictures.
Got the city.
She said it was already filthy when she got there. And I'm inclined to believe that. The young lady didn't throw all that stuff in the back.
The people from city ordinance had come out numerous of times talking to my mom. My mom told him, Your Honor, he asked the guy to move the cars out of the backyard.
This woman didn't do this. How many months did she stay there?
Like 3 months.
All right, she didn't do all this to the bathtub in 3 months. That looks like years worth of damage and corrosion.
Is, Your Honor.
Don't put all this on this young lady. She has not done all this in 3 months. I'm going to grant you $1,000 for the harassment. She had no right to come to your job. That jeopardized your job, and that's certainly harassment with regard to your personal property. You handed me these pictures and said, this is the personal property you want to sue for. The dresser, I asked you, did you tell him you were leaving it? You said yes. With regard to an illegal eviction, you say you were illegally evicted by virtue of them turning off the utilities. The fact is, the gas company turned off the utilities for your failure to pay with regard to the property damage that you all are countersuing for. I don't believe that she did all this in 3 months. Just don't believe it. Your claim is dismissed. I don't believe she destroyed the property like that. I'll grant you $1,000 for the harassment. Have a good day.